our next episode of the Urban Trucker Podcast with Three Rivers Trucking School. I'm Ed Hennings. You can find me at edhennings.ceo on Instagram. And my girl Chrissy Blue.
It's your girl Blue. You can find me on IG at IM_ChrisssyJ. That's CRISSYJ.
Make sure y'all go follow us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, and YouTube. Like, share, comment, and hit that notification button, man, so y'all can know anytime we drop a new episode. Now it's go time.
Let's go.
With the influx of African American, Hispanic, and women into the trucking industry, the trucking industry has taken on a whole new look. We're here on the Urban Trucker Podcast to capture each and every story inside of each and every truck. We're seeing people from our very own community, single moms and the like, become very successful in the trucking business. That story of redemption, that story of overcoming the odds, that road to success that each and every individual took to be successful in the trucking business.
If you put the same amount of effort and hustle into everything else you do into the trucking industry, you're gonna make it.
Everybody want to be the boss, but they don't know the boss eat last. I believe that everybody can make it in trucking, but it's the way you go.
I let my business take me where I want to go.
The trucking game has taken on a whole new look. We are here for another dope episode of the Urban Trucker Podcast. I'm Ed Hennings, and I'm here with my co-host, Chrissy Blue Jay. We joined today by, I can't say this enough, someone that's at the forefront of everything with this trucking thing, man, changing some lives in more ways than one. We're talking about the Three Rivers Trucking School and the founder of the first African-American owned CDL training school in the state of Georgia. It's my girl Michelle in the building. Three Rivers Trucking School. All right. We're glad to have you on the podcast, all right?
Thank you. Look, when you were introducing me, I was like, who he talking about? Wow.
You know, we got to give credit where credit is due, right?
That's awesome, y'all.
That's what's up.
That.
Let me just say this. I had a chance to join her at her school about a month ago, a little bit over a month ago, where it was a graduation ceremony for the people that was graduating with their CDLs. And it was an experience. I just want to share with you guys this before we get started. It wasn't just a graduation. It was more like a family atmosphere. The guys were very much just had each other back. And you could tell that from like the first 10 minutes that I was in the room. I could tell that particular group of guys that graduated together, they really had each other's back. And I heard you reiterate that many times during the ceremony, but I actually had a chance to really see it. So not only is you doing work with them being able to put some food on the table with these CDL license, but you helping these guys out and these ladies out as well with, you know, their selves as a person. And that's very commendable.
Wow. I'm glad you got to see that firsthand, because sometimes a lot of people don't get to see it firsthand. They get to hear about it or they see it on Instagram or something like that, but it's really a big thing to see it firsthand and to really see, to experience the atmosphere that we create there. And it comes from the head. Like, that's how me and my husband are toward each other. So it trickles down to the students that we invite, not only into the school, but even into our home. It trickles down to the point where we create that environment for them.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's dope. I mean, I met you, 20 minutes ago, and we created this bond that it's like, okay, you would think that we know each other forever, right?
I know.
So if you don't mind just telling us, how did you come about starting your CDL school?
Yeah. So I always tell this story about my son. Big ups to my son. I can't wait for him to come home. If you're watching this or when you get to see this, Davion, I want you to know that everything we are doing is because of you. And I'm getting emotional. I can't wait to see you and show you and let you see this baby living and breathing. So my son, about almost 8 years ago now, my son got arrested for armed robbery. And I always tell that story, like, I've always been in, like, an activist. I've always been in activation mode. So we were doing prison ministry in Texas, and I remember getting a phone call, and you're not supposed to have your phone. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, who would be calling me? They know that this is what we do, right? So I get out, I call the number back, and it's my son's girlfriend, and the first time I'm meeting her was on the phone, and she's telling me that my son had been arrested for armed robbery. And I couldn't even, I remember just not even being able to think. Nothing in my life prepared me for that phone call. Like, no book, no anything, me being married for all that time, raising, nothing prepared me for the phone call to hear that my child, my baby, who I mean, no matter what, they're still our baby, that I think couldn't do anything wrong, was now in a position where, and the first thing you think when you think about prison is, he's not ready for this. He's not ready for this life. No matter, I did not prepare him for this because I never saw this. So that phone call led to me coming to, I was flying in from Texas to Georgia, back and forth to go see him. And I remember telling my husband, we got to move to Georgia. I need to be close to him, because I didn't want to have to call him and say, hey, I missed a flight, or we couldn't come, I didn't have the money. I quickly realized how important those visits were. So we packed up everything, and we got back down to Georgia. And I remember when he got, they moved him to Macon State, the maximum security prison in Georgia. And I remember him walking out, and he had these glassy eyes, and he's like, Mom, I'm gonna be okay. But in inside, I'm like, this is my baby. Like, what am I supposed to, I can't, everything in me wanted to, like, I wanted to be like the movies. I wanted to find some way that I can blow up the whole prison and get him out of there. You know that one movie where he had like 60 seconds, like all of this is going through my head. And I even talked to my husband, like, maybe we can move to Mexico and we can do all of this. And then not only that, there was a baby about to be born. And I'm like, oh God, we got a grandbaby, and he's not gonna know his dad, like all of these emotions. And when he came through that door, I had to like straighten up, fly right, and act as though I was okay. And we sat down, and he said, Mama, I'm gonna be all right. He said, it's gonna be okay, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna do this. And then his next words was, I'm sorry. And I broke then. His Mom, I'm sorry. I disappointed you. And all I could remember was telling him was like, nope, I'm happy because you're not dead. Yeah. Because the phone call could have been, we got to bury your son. So I said, I'm happy that I don't have to see you under a white sheet. We can make it through this. We can get through this. And I remember telling him, I just need you to know that whatever I got to do to put money on your books and make sure you can call me, I'm going to do what I have to do. And that was our plan when we left there. Our plan was that he would never have to ask for anything while he was in there. So he's a bill for us every Friday. He is a bill every week. So, and that's what started the school, just seeing other men in there. I saw a little boy sing happy birthday to his father behind a glass wall. And I remember when I watched that kid, and he was so happy. And the dad was happy because it was his moment he could share with his son. But I said, this is not right. Yeah. To me, this just doesn't seem right that we have to see our men like this. Like, they're human beings. And to have to walk away from them and know that they're in this place, this grungy place. And so we got back in the truck, and I told my husband, we gotta do something. And the only thing I know to do is use my CDLs. I don't know, I didn't know anything else. I don't know anybody want to come home from prison and be a secretary, but I'm quite sure they want to drive trucks. Right. And so we sold our first house, and that was our capital. We put everything in storage, sold our cars, everything. My daughter's here with me today in the audience, and I remember the conversation I had to have with her, and I had to send my daughter to live back with her father because this was a sacrifice that I had to make. And it's still so emotional now because I had to make that sacrifice for my son. And so there was a lot of turmoil there with the other children because I had to focus in on him now to make sure that he survived the 7 years. And so we gave up everything and we started the school with one truck. I remember we had one truck and 15 students and we're sitting out there and it was hard trying to teach 15 people off of one truck because that means one person is getting in the truck maybe 2 times on a good day.
Right.
So it was a lot of complaints. But let me tell you something. That one truck, our passing rate was at 98%.
Wow.
Because even though the class was a lot longer, we had more, I think, and it was just me and my husband. So we knew what we wanted to give these students. We didn't involve any other trainers, anybody else. I literally was answering the phone, turn right. Okay, hold on real quick. I'm sorry. Just give me one moment. Put the phone on mute. Go left now. Okay, you see the cone? Okay, stop right there. Okay, ma'am, thank you so much. Now, you said your son wanted to start on what day? I'm on the lot doing that. And so it was just me and him. And I never saw this thing getting this big. I just really just wanted to help people coming home from prison. I never, ever thought that we would even be training people who had not went to prison. And I never thought that we would have corporate contracts training police officers and city people. I never saw that. I just wanted, my son took a hit when he went to prison, and it actually, that saying that what the devil meant for bad, God turned it around for our good. So even though the devil thought that he took us, he broke me to my knees by taking my baby. But I remember telling my husband, I said, I made a promise to him, to the devil. If you was bold enough to walk in here and take my son out of here, I'm coming for every black male I can. And that's just been our purpose, right? Yep.
That's a dope story.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's been us.
Like you said you didn't want him to have to get out and worry about anything. And I was telling her that, you know, not a lot of families in the Western civilization know what we do, right? We think when our kids turn 18, put them out, you're out of here, right? They're not always ready, right? So to be able to want to say, I know you made a mistake, baby, because you know what I mean? People make mistakes. It's not exactly who their character is, right? People just make bad choices, right? To say, I'm going to set you up so when you come home, you have a chance. We don't do that in our culture enough, right? Yep. So not only were you giving your son a chance, you're giving other black men and people that even aren't incarcerated a chance to be able to feed their families, have a different life, and do that. I mean, I think that we need to do that more, and that's huge. The fact that you care and you love enough, you love your son enough to say, you know what, baby, when you get out, ain't gonna be no reason for you to have to do anything to go back in, because I'm gonna set you up. You're gonna be good. You use your pain to feel your purpose. Yeah. And we don't always know, so that,
I love that. I use the pain to feel the purpose. A lot of people don't know. He doesn't know this. So if he watches this, one of the things that we purposed with the school was his dream car was a BMW i8. Since he was a little kid, that's what he's always wanted. So me and my husband purposely set out to make sure when he comes home, I don't want you to have to, remember, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about the prodigal son. And I don't mean to go all biblical on y'all, but okay. But remember, when he came home, after everything that he had been through, his father never asked him to show me that you're ready. He just took off his ring and handed it to the son. He didn't ask any questions. He didn't go, I need to know what you've been through. Oh, I need to make sure you're ready for this. None of that. He just took off his ring and put it on his son's hand. And his son, from that ring, knew that he was now welcome back into the family. Right. So for us, it's gonna be that I8 to show him. We don't need to know. If there's things you don't want to talk to me about, you don't have to. All we need to celebrate is the fact that you made it and you're here now. And we're gonna make sure that you never ever have to go down that route again. But not just for him. For every little black boy that finds themselves in that situation, where now at 16 years old, you made a mistake. And now this mistake is now turned into something that this is all people know about you. I was telling Ed not so long ago, I was in Alabama, and we were fighting for because another part of what we do is we do a lot of reform. So we go to different people's court dates, and we rally for them to be released, so that me and my husband take full responsibility for that young man, and we bring them into our home. And then we train them and then send them out to go work with their CDL license. And I remember the judge in Alabama, he just looked at me and he would not allow me to speak. And he wanted me to leave. And he kept calling the young man that we were there for a rapist. He kept saying, he's a rapist, he's a rapist. And I'm like, but there's a difference between rape and statutory rape. And I kept telling the lawyer, I'm quite sure with him being a judge, he understands the difference. So why is he saying the word rapist? Because in my head, and just like what happened in the courtroom, is every time he said that word, everyone in the courtroom was like, oh my God, it's a rapist. No one wanted to hear this young man's story because the judge said rapist, and it's coming from someone of stature, someone that, you know, we literally have put him in this seat. So we honor his word because that's what he's paid to do, to judge people's actions and sentence them. So when it comes down from someone like that, no one else wants to listen to anything else now. The judge has said this, so this actually settles this case. And I remember saying to my husband when I came home, I said, I have to find some type of way to maybe play golf with these judges, maybe go and be where they are so that some way they can see us as not just that criminal that you sentenced. There are other implications behind that story as to why that young man was in that situation. And so that's kind of what we do on the outside, really trying to bring the reform. And we use the trucking school as our platform to be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit about the trucking school operations?
Yeah. So what do you want to know?
You let me know.
Okay.
We open book.
Look, it's so funny because I just said this to my second assistant. I have 4 now. Assistant number 2. I was just telling her, I said, you know what? I need a camera that's going to follow. We need a real YouTube channel that's going to say Trucking School 101, because the stuff that we go through, people would never believe. People would be like, nuh-uh. And I'd be like, you can't make this stuff up, man. So, in the life of a trucking school, from the moment we wake up, literally 6 a.m., we're at the DDS, making sure we have fuel in the trucks, making sure the trucks turn on, or jumping batteries, because no student wants to hear when they get to that DDS that the truck won't start. So at 6 a.m., we're working on trucks, okay? And we got to be out of there by 7:30. Like, you can't, even though no matter what is wrong, you got to be out of there by 7:30 because we got to be in the classroom by 8 o'clock. So we got to drive from one side of the town to the other. And, of course, we're probably speeding. And then that's when the fun starts. Now we're in the classroom. And people think a lot of times, they say, you and Eric work together all the time. Do y'all ever get tired of each other? We never see each other. Even though we work together every day, we literally don't see each other till around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Because the moment we get to the school, I'm in the classroom, I'm on the automatic truck outside, he's on the standard. He's on a whole nother part of the yard that I don't even go over there. So, and then even for lunch, they go to lunch at different times, so we never see each other. So from 8 o'clock in the morning, it's pre-trip. We're doing pre-trip from 8 to 10. And that is the most difficult part, because when I pull up on the lot, we literally have cameras on the lot. And so I use, this is funny. Most people ask me, do you use the cameras to see if people come up and try to steal stuff from the trucks? No. I use the cameras to verify if the students are doing pre-trip. Okay. So when I get in the morning, if I get in around 10, you know, if I'm running late, I can pull up the cameras and I can see every student that's sat in their car. I can see every student that's under the hood. And so the students that are sitting at their car, you know, I'll come and tap them. You know, they'll try to get out there right when they see my car pull up. And I'll come and tap them like, I'm sorry, you won't be driving today. Wow. And they're like, Miss Michelle, what? I've been here since 8 o'clock. Yeah, but you was in your car till about 9:30. Right. So you didn't pre-trip. Right. And so they're like, how? So you get a lot of students come up there and they're looking on the building trying to figure out where the cameras are. But that's what we use the cameras for, to verify if they're doing pre-trip, because pre-trip is the most important thing on that truck. Right. Okay. It will save your life.
How long does it take for someone, okay, say somebody like myself, because I don't have a CDL license, but if I wanted them, how long would it take for me to obtain them?
if you're a quick learner and you don't have any problem being told what to do, a lot of times when we get entrepreneurs, it's really hard for you guys because you're used to giving orders and now someone has to give you an order. So it's a little bit difficult, but if you can get used to that, usually it can be done in 21 days.
21 days.
It can be done in
That's a
21
fast
days.
turnaround.
Now, I'm sorry. No, with your school, so are you allowed to take like government assistance as far as grants and student loans or anything like that? How are their classes?
We just now got accepted through Fannie Mae, so we can take student loans. We also take the GI Bill.
Okay.
We also there's so many grants that we help the students apply for through the state of Georgia, and we do SNAP grants where if you receive food stamps or you receive medical assistance, Medicaid, if you can receive anything from the government, we can help you apply for a grant to have the CDL completely paid for.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just had to be accredited for that, and then it opened you up to any type of
Yes,
government
once you're accredited with the school, then you have to go, and then there's certain other accreditations you have to apply for to actually be able to apply for those grants. So getting the accreditation from the state is one thing, and then if you want to accept grants and different type of funding from the state, then then you have to go through those accreditations too.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So how many trucks do you guys currently have right now that you work?
To the school, I believe there's 9 total.
Okay.
There's 9 total.
Is it one person per truck? One student per truck right now?
No, there's usually so what we do is we have 2 trucks that sit at the actual DMV to take their test.
Okay.
And so once they're done with the actual course, they will go and they wait. I think we take about 5 students a day to actually take their test. So all 5 of them will meet up there, and we have an automatic and a standard, and the student trains in whichever of their choice, if they want to do automatic or standard. Those trucks only sit at the DDS, and they do just a road test. Then we have 2 trucks that are dedicated just for pre-trip, just for in-cab, if they want to sit in and just do their in-cab, because that's the most important part of the state test.
Okay.
Then we have 2 trucks that just go on the road. So we only take those 2 trucks only do drive time. They don't do anything else. And we do road time every Monday and every Wednesday and every Friday.
Okay.
So those 2 trucks go on the road. Then we have 2 trucks that we just do all the maneuvers with.
Okay.
So we have those 2 trucks that we do the maneuvers with. Then we have 1 more truck that we use our corporate account. So we have a day cab, and that actual truck and trailer goes to our corporate account, where you can hire us to come to your facility, and we would stay there for 21 days, and we use that truck.
Wow. Wow. So you go, will you like commute from your house every morning for 21 days to where they at?
No, usually when it's a corporate account, they actually pay for us to come to them.
Oh,
so we would stay there.
Y'all stay
now
like
we
in a
don't do
hotel
it.
or something?
Yes, but we don't do it a 21-day like straight because of the fact that we still have to run 3 rivers too.
Yes.
So we still have to run the home location. So in that case, we do like 2 to 3 days out of a week. Wow. So the company would pay for us to come to them, and we stay in a hotel for those 3 days, and we train, and then we come back and we do that once a week.
Okay. Well, with it being a CDL school, and you have your CDLs, if I'm correct, right?
I do.
Okay.
11 years.
So 11 years? Wow. So when you start looking at potential students, and I seen, a young lady when I was there at your school the last time, then when you just had your conference a couple weeks ago, there was a couple more ladies. So with you being a lady, I know you kind of can watch and see how many ladies in your class.
Yeah.
So each class, what's on average, how many ladies do you get?
It varies because the class that you came to graduation, we only had 1 young lady.
Yes.
Then right after that, we had 5.
Okay.
And this class we have coming up on Monday, we have 7. Wow. The class coming up in November, we have a total of 10. Wow. And then the class in December, we have a total of 4. So it just varies, But I think a lot of times the women come because they know there's a woman owner. So they like to feel comfortable. A lot of people don't talk about some of the bad things in trucking school. And it can get really bad for females, especially being in a world that's full of men. Being able to make sure that she's comfortable, making sure that she wears the appropriate clothing. And it just feels better for I wouldn't want my husband to have to talk to a woman about, hey, this is, you know. So it feels better coming from another woman. Hey, I wouldn't wear this. Not because you don't want anybody looking at you, but simply because I'm a woman too, and I don't want to be out here with my belly all out and everything out, and I'm climbing in and out of the truck and I'm exposed. So it just sounds, it comes off better coming from another female.
Okay. So what's the cost to attend your school?
Yeah, so we have so many different prices depending on what you're going to do.
Okay.
So if you came in and you paid like up front, you don't want to pay any payments, it's $3,500.
Okay.
And we do that because I kind of did the market to kind of figure out all the other schools in the area to make sure I knew that we were going to be right underneath them, but still be able to match them. Like Ed said, I'm going to outwork them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure my price is a little bit under them so I can be affordable. So you have a payment that if you paid up front, it's $3,500.
Okay.
If you wanted to do a payment plan where you're not going to receive any type of grants, it's $4,750.
Okay.
And then if you receive any type of grants, it can go anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000.
Okay. All right.
So with that, we're talking about money. A person that's coming out of your school with a CDL license, what would their pay range look like?
That's a question that we always have to tell them.
Because I would ask that, like,
man.
what my money gonna look like when I get done with it?
You know, the problem with that question is it would be a lot easier to answer that question if we didn't have Instagram. And I'm being so honest. Because if we did not have Instagram, because Instagram has drivers or people without a CDL, you don't even know these people. And they probably don't have a CDL. They probably never been in a truck. They're just at a truck stop. And they're just filming themselves. They could just be a ride along.
Right.
Yeah.
And they go, oh man, I'm making the G's in the bank. I'm doing this. And so the average student comes in thinking, oh, I just seen so-and-so on Instagram and they making 10 G's.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
how long have they been a driver?
Right.
Right.
Who are they running for? Do they own the truck? Because most students don't see that. They just hear what you guys are saying on Instagram. It's just like when they listen to rap music and they're repeating it. They don't really know what entails all into that. So that question can be very scary to answer because sometimes it kind of makes the student deter away from it because they've been sold so many lies.
It's not as much as they done bloated the numbers on social media and all of that stuff.
Because some of them think you can come in and at the 21 days you can be making $1 million.
Right.
And I'm like, nobody in the world is going to give you a $250,000 piece of equipment and then give you $1 million contract after just 21 days.
Yeah.
That's right.
You don't have the experience.
That's right.
So you have to tell them, I always recommend the students, if you do not have the capital, go and get in someone's truck.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to crawl.
That's right.
We all had to crawl. We didn't get here by just waking up one day. You didn't get out of your mama's womb and start walking.
That's right.
You had to crawl. So don't be afraid to be a company driver. Learn the game.
Now. Yeah, they want it instantly.
Yes.
Yeah, they want it instantly with no work.
Yeah.
Yes, they all do. Especially the young ones that, man, they have these dreams and you have to tell them, we will get to that. You will. Now, don't get me wrong. Trucking is the only industry on the market that it will level the playing field for you so that you can sit next to a neurosurgeon. I mean, me and my husband have been in places where people want to know, how were you able to afford these tickets? And it's simply because we've leveled the playing field with trucking.
That's right.
So there is an ability to do that, but you got to be willing to work for someone before you do that. Because you got to find out what he making. And that's one of the things I did when I worked for my husband. I told my husband one day, I remember saying, if they paying you this, I want to know what him and his wife bringing in. So that's what I did. I started learning. What does he make off of this? If he can pay you 90%, what's he making?
All right. Well, let me ask you a question. If I started in trucking school,
woo! This is my time to exit, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a great interview. Blue, it was so nice to meet you.
Sis, what is them coins looking like?
right? What the CDL school?
I'll tell you what.
Living.
I tell you what.
Let me say this.
Let me say
I
this.
came and spoke at the graduation. She gave me a gift. It's real nice too.
Let me say this. I won't go into figures. I will say this, 2 things. I do have a mentorship program where I do mentor people to open up their own school. I will tell you this, that is $15,000 up front. And I will make sure that the school is ran. We even help you with the trucks, everything. That's a mentorship. That's not me doing any of the work. That's me showing you and you're actually doing it. Now, we do have a program where if you wanted to franchise Three Rivers, and we will move Three Rivers wherever you want it to be. And that program is between $50,000 to $75,000. And then we will place Three Rivers in whatever city and state you need it to be. We take care of all the paperwork, all the trucks, the land, everything. Now, as far as what I made, I can say this. For my birthday, my husband was able to buy me my dream car, which was the Bentley Coupe. So I'll leave that there.
There you go.
That's what we make.
Y'all hear that? See, and this is so groundbreaking for, because when I grew up, I'm 50, right? So I'm growing up in the things what I was seeing. This was the hood dream. Get a barbershop, a liquor store, a tavern, a gas station, or a candy store. So everybody that has some type of business in that, we thought they made it. We thought, oh man, they got money. You know, he got a grocery store. They got money. Then now, along my entrepreneurial journey, I opened up my barbershop and beauty salon. Wasn't no money. So growing up, it was an illusion. So as a grown man, I had a chance to obtain and achieve that. And I was like, wow, man, I thought these barbers was making money hand over fist. But it wasn't true at all. Then you look back and you peel back the numbers. You say, that's why old school been cutting hair all our life, because he ain't no retirement, ain't nothing in it. So just understand that there's other options on the table besides the big 5 or 6 things that we grew up fantasizing about. A trucking school. I didn't even think about getting a truck until I was 45 years old. Wow. So a trucking school, man, I hope somebody's son or daughter who's 16, 17 years old is watching this is saying, you know what, I'm going to grow up and open me a CDL training school.
Yeah, and it's not just a school. I think more than anything, you got to remember too, I'm dealing with, my husband is a 36-year vet in the game. So like, I didn't just come up and get this stuff. Like, he's really the brains behind the operation. Eric knows what that truck is gonna do before he even blinks. Like he can literally park the truck in his sleep. Yeah. And we've had student drivers call us and be like, Mr. Eric, I'm stuck. Right. And he just say, okay, send me a picture of what you're looking at. And he just get off the phone and walk them right through it from the picture. So a lot of this is his brains to knowing, since he was 16 years old, how to operate that truck, how to operate that container. So what I like to tell people is, we don't just have the truck in school, we got the sauce. Yeah. So that's why we have, like right now, we have such a high success rate because of the way we teach. It's not just that we are the culture, we love the family environment, but the techniques that we teach, anybody can tell you any day they want to open up a trucking school. Yeah. But can you produce students that can actually do what you do when they go to their job? No doubt. That's the key. Can they be confident behind that wheel? So that's the biggest thing. We make people confident behind the wheel. So it's different than just training them. We give them confidence that they can do it. And the way we teach them, I have been told by a lot of students that if I was a monkey and you would just blindfold them and put their hands on the wheel and just talk to them, they could put it in. It was like, these maneuvers are just like that even a monkey can do it. Wow. We've taken all of, I like to say this when the students come in on the first day, if you come to me and you say you want a bacon cheeseburger, I've taken all the grease out of it. So I can give you what you want, and I can make it healthy for you. And so that's what we've done.
No doubt.
That's huge. And, kind of bounce back what you said, things that we see, even so much as your t-shirt, right? They grow up, automatically want to be a rapper, be an athlete, and not thinking about other things like that, right? Yeah. So when we're able to show our community and our culture, like, listen, you can do this. It's not overnight. Like you said, this is 30-some odd years worth of research and information and firsthand work that he put into that, right? So I don't want, you know, I don't want everyone to think like, hey, I can just go open a trucking school and it's gonna work like this. It's not, you know. So being able to bounce back and say, hey, and you know, not to go too much into it, but like you were talking about, even with your son, right? And her and I was talking to a lot of people. I don't want y'all to think I am an emotional person, but as we said, just coming to this trucking company, you know, I lost my son in December, right? He was 21. And we wanted to do something in trucking, right? And I wanted to be able to continue to do that, which is how Ed and I connected. Because when my son got, matter of fact, armed robbery is what he was locked up for 2 years before he got out, right? Right? He was a kid still, right? I reached out to Ed. Can you talk to my son? We kept in communication. He had the podcast. I came to him. So it's like full circle, right? You come around, and what you're doing, I wish that my son had the opportunity to even hear and see what you're saying. You know what I mean? And his life getting taken wasn't anything to what he did, but just the people you hang around with, right? So for that, that's why I was so emotional, because I think about, you know what I mean, my son being gone in December, and if he had have heard this, maybe he would have changed some of the things that he did, some of the people he hung around, you know? And so that's big for me. It touches me. And so to know that you're doing this for your son, whether my son's still here or not, I'm still gonna carry on, you know, what he did.
Yes.
So I'm thankful, and I hope that any other parent or any other child that's out there watching this sees this. You know, it's bigger than the streets, right? What you say? And sorry, but that's how we have to let our young kids know with the culture. They're gonna look at, a Bentley, because that's what they understand, right? So we got to talk in their language. So that right there, like, I am an emotional person, but it was deeper than just that. But I love your story. I love the fact that you and your husband did what you had to do to save your baby. So,
we have to put on that cape. We have to be superwoman when it's time to. And I think for our culture, a lot of people don't tell us this, that for some reason we seem to think that once a child is 16 or 17 years old, that this is it. And that's the way our culture kind of, and I think it has something to do with slavery. I really do believe that, because if we had more time before our children were sold and before they were snatched away, if we had more time, we could have been able to put so much into them. And so now it's important that we know now to say, it doesn't matter if he's 18 years old. He's still your baby. Doesn't matter if she's 16 years old. She's still your baby. It doesn't matter if she had a baby. Now both of them are your baby. And I told Ed when I got here this morning, this evening, I told him, literally when we were planning to come here, we were only coming here to be here. And my daughter called while we were driving and said her car was stolen. And so now we're like, okay, what do we do? And so I told my husband, I said, well, she has been through so much, and she's working. She's got a full-time job. She has her own apartment. She has made it here. So if we don't buy her a car now, she's coming to live back with us. So what do you want to do? He hit the gas. He was like, all right, we're going to make sure she keeps her independence. So we literally came here today. And one of the things, you mentioned the Bentley, one of the things that she wanted just a little car to get her back and forth. She would have been happy with a Pinto. She would have been happy, beat up, whatever. And so when I started looking, I said, my daughter's going to drive BMW. So I'm going to make sure she understands who her mom is. So if your mama is driving a car like this, you're going to drive a car like this. So we went purposely today to find her a BMW that fits her, because it's important that we teach our children that I can help everybody else, but I can't help my own children.
It's beautiful.
I have to be able to do that.
That's right. And you know, it's, and for me, you know what I'm saying, I hear that and I understand wholeheartedly, you know, because once again, like you'll hear me over and over again reiterate poverty and how the stresses of it is on a single mom, how it is on any family that has, I say, you know how much greater of a person you could be if you didn't have to worry about money? You could really be a great person, because we know when our bills are paid, we got money in our pocket, food on the table, I can be a great person. But let them bills start stacking up. Let that people start knocking at their door and phones start ringing. I get a little angry. I get a little on edge. They're like, don't play with me today. Today ain't the day. So having to live under that premise day in and day out and day in and day out is very stressful for any individual. So to understand that something like a CDL school, when I came home and I was speaking about changing your life, and I wasn't in trucking yet. I was just saying, man, I fought hard. I got these barber license. I'm cutting the hair. I'm doing this. But I knew that wasn't a viable thing to push off on the youth. But once I got into trucking, I can honestly go in my hood, in any hood in America, and say, man, get some CDL license. It's gonna change the game.
Period.
I'm talking about get you a truck. It's gonna change. It could be a box truck, a semi truck. Get you a truck and drive it yourself. It'll change your life. I'm not saying you're gonna be a millionaire, but you're gonna be doing a hell of a lot better than what it is you're doing today. I promise you. And that's my only message as far as the economics is concerned in my area of the world. And I see you doing the training school like that, and I know what it's doing for them guys that I connected with. You know, it's 3 or 4 of them that I connected with while I was down there. And I know that we from the same place. And these CDLs, you know it's gonna change your life, don't you? So that's how it was. It's gonna change their life.
It's our culture to walk away from people that have made a mistake. We've been taught that, but now we get to give something back, and we're giving back what we know. The trucking industry, we're giving it back.
So, with that being said, what words of wisdom? Something on your heart, something that you feel that some young person, somebody that's getting into trucking, somebody that's watching this, what does Three Rivers need these individuals to know?
I always say this, Three Rivers, we leave the light on for you. I say that all the time because I want people to know that, like, we are the second chance. A lot of people don't know, they don't think that they have a second chance. And remember the Karief Browder story? And remember this young kid was accused of taking a book bag in New York, and he did not take the book bag. But because he did not have an attorney, now this kid is arrested and he's waiting for trial. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he waited maybe 28 months, 2 years or something, just to see the judge. So we have this young black kid. His parents don't have the money to get a lawyer to go to him. So we're dealing with a public defender that he or she has 30, 40, 50 cases. So this book bag case is at the bottom of the tadpole because I got murder cases, I got rape cases, I got all this other stuff. So this kid sits on Rikers Island and wasting away. And when he came home, even though he was released, he came home, this kid had been through so much trauma. Where were the people? And my answer is, where was Three Rivers? I should have been there. I should have been there so that Karief could have called me and said, I can't do it no more. So that we could have went to New York, got him, put him in our home, and trained him, gave him something to look forward to. These young men need to know that your mistake does not determine who you will be. It's just one mistake. And so who cares how big of the mistake it is? Somebody has to say, I'll leave the light on. I will wait for you. And if you're not ready, it's okay, because there are a lot of people we had to move out of the program that came home from prison with us. We've had to say, you can no longer be in the program. So we understand that. But there are some that are ready. And those that are ready, we want to be the ones that, you can come here. You can come here. We got you.
Awesome. And this brings us to the closing of our podcast today and our final mile moment. And just having this conversation and hearing the work that Three Rivers is doing, not only with CDL training, but also some life skills being passed down in the community of Georgia. And it just makes me think about accountability. It makes me think about when I turn on the news or I pick up a newspaper and I see somebody that may have committed a crime or made a bad decision or a bad choice. And we really pile on to these individuals. We really start pointing the finger at these individuals and saying certain things and thinking certain things. But let me give you something else to think about. Think about how you failed that individual. Think about how so many of us had an opportunity to do what Three Rivers is doing. So many of us had an opportunity to change the course of history because you could have let that young man know just who he was. I've been around people that didn't know who they were, that was broken men. And the people that was around them didn't spend 1 ounce or 1 minute or 1 second from the day they came in the world with allowing them to learn and become the strong and confident individual that they needed to be. So just think about this before you cut that TV off or close that newspaper, that you might be an accessory to a crime one day because you didn't take the opportunity to help that individual know and become just who they are. Once again, this is the Urban Trucker Podcast. I'm Ed Hennings. I'm with my co-host, Chrissy Blue, and we was so happy to have Three Rivers Trucking School in the building today to bless us with the knowledge and understanding and everything that you're doing in Georgia. We appreciate it.
Can we tell our audience where we can find you?
Yeah. So you guys can follow us on every social media platform, Three Rivers Trucking School. You can call us at 1-800-315-7022. Again, it's 1-800-315-7022. And if you happen to be in Georgia, you're more than welcome. Our address is 3769 Maysville Road, Commerce, Georgia, 30529.
I know that's right.
Awesome. And
for me?
where can we find you at?
Your girl Blue, you can find me at IM_Chrissy J, and that's CRISSYJ. And always remember, use your smile to change the world, but never allow the world to change your smile.
Man, and I'm Ed Hennings once again. You can find me on Instagram at edhennings.ceo. Y'all tap in, all right?
It's go time. It's go time.
It's go
It's go time.
It's go time. Y'all hear that?
Let's go.